Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us for another great conversation. My name is Lola Wusu, and we are here with the Black Design Collective. We are here with BJ Gray. He founded Grayscale, which is a luxury boutique fashion house specializing in evening wear, suiting, outerwear, um, and so many other things, I feel like. But BJ trained in Paris, France, and in design, and then in Los Angeles for styling. And he founded Grayscale here, continues to manufacture here. And lately, honestly, I have seen his stuff. I'm sure you have seen his stuff, strutting red carpets. You know, he's been on every fly suit you've seen recently has been a Grayscale suit. Lena Waithe has worn him, Anthony Anderson, Jay Ellis, Trevor Jackson, Neo, so many people that you love and respect as a dresser has been adorned by this amazing man right here. So I'm excited. Let's get right into it. Hi, BJ.
Wow, what an introduction, Lo. You got me sitting here. I'm like, dang, oh, that's me. Who you talking
All
about?
the things.
Thank you for the intro. Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah. So how did you get, like, when did you get your aha moment? Like, the fashion is your career, like you were going into fashion.
I think sometimes you know how like there's segues, there's things that are like introducing you to something in order to set up something else.
Right.
Myself, I believe that was banking. I was in banking, and I don't know why it is that a lot of fashion guys come from banking, but maybe it's because you wear suits every day and you're finding a way to express, you know, like your personality, your creativity through these, these basic colors. So you found ways to get creative, and I literally birthed the styling portion of Grayscale out of working in banking. My clients that I was managing their funds for, I actually started to manage their closets. And so
Wow.
surely they liked what I wore, and they were like, you know what, like, could you do that for me? And I said, I mean, I guess, yeah. Then it started to become money here and there, and after a while, it was DC. So this was an area of just two mixed mediums. There's an aspect of DC where there's a DuPont circle where there's ultra flamboyant, where you're feeling like ultra Travolta.
Okay.
But there's an aspect of DC also too, where it's conservative, where it's the hill, right? And some of these people, when they wanted to let their hair down, they wanted to wear those. They wanted to go from one side to the other, do a 180, and it just completely started like that. People were asking for more. They were like, I like what you found. This was cool, clean cut, but can we get it in hot pink? Can we get it in fuchsia? Can we get it in peridot? Like, you know, like it started to just span the spectrum, and slowly but surely, that was the moment I started to realize. I said, hey, you know what? I might have something here. You know, like this might be monetizable. We might be able to, not only make some money, but make some impact also. You know, as far as where I'm from, I think there was growing up a stigma on loud colors.
Mm,
I'm from Inglewood, California, and where
okay.
I grew up, it was rough. It was the hood, and if you were to wear colors in times where we weren't as welcoming as to the LGBTQIA, then it would be frowned upon, right? And some of
Yeah.
those same sentiments are still in those hoods today. You know, if you're wearing bright colors, then it's frowned upon, or it's it's homophobic. Unfortunately,
Mhm.
and I really felt that I had an onus in being able to impact the communities to say there's no sexuality in color.
Yeah.
Like anybody can wear color. And I think one of the pinnacles that I felt, it was a weird pinnacle, but a pinnacle that I felt was when I had a guy who I knew was very much into that life.
Yeah.
And he ended up proposing in a pink suit to his girl. And
Ah, I
it
love
felt
that.
like the sentiments of like an intersection at that time where it was a comfort in being able to wear boisterous colors to be able to expose and kind of like display who you are, while
Mhm.
also a comfort in black men and men of color and anyone who was really straddling that line and trying to figure out what it looked like to wear color. I know that was broad, but yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And you're so right with that in terms of it being accepted and not being something that said that you are, a specific sexuality. I know a lot of people have that issue. I mean, that's how, in a broader sense, that's how Kanye became Kanye. He wore a pink polo. And it
Right.
was like, oh, but you're hood, you're not supposed to. But he changed the game. Pharrell changed
Right.
the game. Like there's a lot of people out there who needed that validation that they can step outside of what society told them. So thank you for that. That's a really great thing. Also,
My
I didn't know that you came from the banking world. That makes a lot of sense.
girl, I don't know if we got the time to tell you what I came from, but I'm former military. Also, I was in the Army for 8 years. So my background is very, very vast. And slowly but surely, if you learn more about me, when you look at my designs and stuff, you'll look and see the reflection of those things. Because I love banking, I love numbers, I love math, I'm
Yeah.
wearing a Pythagorean suit. You know, like I'm into nerdy stuff like that. So it all reflects for me. I always try to keep little underlying things for people who know me to kind of like know a little bit more about stuff, and people who learn stuff to have aha moments.
Yeah, I love that. I love that so much. I'm also a nerd, so to me, it's like, oh, you put nerd parts into your designs. That just makes it like it was a cute, it's a dope fit, but now it's nerdy. I love
That's a little bit more, right?
it. So how did you, when you decided to start Grayscale, you did all the things, you started people's closets, you came here, you started styling. What made you decide I'm going to, well, actually, let's go back. You came back to Los Angeles, you started styling, and how did you get into that?
So when I came back to LA, I wanted to hit the ground running. I honestly wanted to stay in Paris longer, but family, well, stuff was going on. Family brought me back to the States, and I took that as for it to be a moment of understanding and clarity. Like I'm really big on understanding, signs and omens and things of that sort. So I took that as a time for use that as a springboard, go back to the States and figure it out, right? And when I got back to the States, I felt a little lost because I was just at this intersection of having this knowledge and trying to apply it, finding out where to apply it, right? And I
Yeah,
remember when I came back home, I just started walking around downtown. That's all I knew immediately. Like, I was like, let me just walk around downtown. Like, I'm a bubbly person. I'm just going to talk to people,
yeah,
I had found out my Parisian products and factory and all of that stuff, and I understood the business in that instance, but it was more so like about finding areas to make it transferable to the States, right?
mhm,
So when I was walking around downtown LA, I probably was annoying the hell out of people at these stores because I would literally see somebody and they would be picking up fabric. I'd go over there and talk to them. Where do you produce? Where do you get fabric? Where do you find this type of fabric? Where do you find wool suiting? Where do you find this? Where do we find every question that I had?
yeah,
I probably got from picking people's brain when we were in fabric stores. I surrounded myself in the areas that I knew people were doing what I was wanting to do, and eventually I got it with the right people. It was a numbers game. So
that's
I
a
finally
word.
found out about Mood. I finally found out about Black and Son. I finally found out about R.I.P. Michael Levine.
Okay.
You know, all those places, and then it just slowly but surely from there, the Rolodex of knowledge and places where to get things in LA just constantly boomed. And I really love how, shout out to LA designers, shout out to the Black Design Creative Collective. That's what this is about. Having people understand that we're stronger when we share
Yeah,
information. And I wouldn't be where I was today if I didn't have a community to share information with me, a community to share connections with me, and a community that believed in me also, because the creative community literally raises up a new version of ourselves every year, right? It's like when Mufasa held up Simba. Like
yeah,
every year, creatives are going, here's a new designer,
yeah,
here's a new stylist, here's a new photographer, here's a new, whatever it may be, we're putting something up to offer to the world. And what happens is we manifest that, because when we get behind people, you say, like, yo, I love your designs. And then all of a sudden somebody else says, I really like his designs too. What we're doing is we're manifesting this energy where we're lifting up to the universe and we're saying, this person is now ready at this time to be introduced into their purpose, to start walking in their path of excellence, right? And that
right.
was that moment for me when I came back. I started styling assisting with Mapuje Kalu, a stylist here in LA.
Yay.
And man, shout out to Apuje, shout out to the
Right.
front. I was introduced by another alpha And I was styling assistant with Apuje, and Apuje, had it not been for that man, I don't know where my career would be. I know I would have gotten here, but it just would have been a different direction.
Exactly.
Right? But he let me, shout out to The Secrets, if you guys are early designers, connect with stylists, right?
Yeah.
Connect with stylists, become stylist best friends, because what's going to happen is Lola and I can both attest to being in Los Angeles is put us in positions to where we were able to get some jobs that were maybe, to keep it a buck, maybe not even necessarily meant for us, right?
Yeah.
But at that time, at that moment, at that place, there was serendipity.
Exactly.
And from that, something beautiful occurred. And I can talk about millions of moments where I've had that being in LA. So I started to, that's a nugget for y'all, you know, meet with other stylists, talk about whatever it is, let them know what you do, annoy the hell out of them. Send them your lookbook. Ask them, do they have anything coming up? Tell them when you produce a new piece. Shoot them a text message. You know, I want to be on your mind when you're thinking of suiting. I want to be on your mind when you're thinking of fine tailoring. I want to be on your mind when you're thinking of bold colors used in classic silhouettes, right? So you align yourself with those things. You put yourself in the room and your name will be spoken. I started to have my fashions, anything that I made that I felt that was finally, once I got out of imposter syndrome, I'd say, oh, Apuje, put this in a fitted, bro.
Yeah. And
it would be Givenchy, it would be Christian Dior, it would be Off-White, and a little grayscale. Just a little sprinkle of a little grayscale. But slowly but surely, it was a numbers game again. And it wasn't right off of the back. You know, everybody wasn't rocking, but even to keep it more honest with you, sometimes I heard the critiques that I didn't necessarily feel were necessarily like the most friendliest. I needed to hear in order to build, right? Like, you know, I was like, oh, I like this, but I wish they would have did this. And I'm sitting in the back like, but you got to keep a straight face. You know, it is what it is. But you take that and you build a tougher skin, and it makes you a better designer, because you, at that moment, I had to realize too, what is my voice? Who am I speaking to and who am I speaking for?
Yeah.
Because that was an intersection where I had to realize, okay, everything ain't for everybody.
Yeah.
So while I'm taking heed to what you're saying, this piece may simply just not be for you.
Yeah.
You know, so it was okay for me to start to understand, hey, okay, yes, that's a good point. But no, I'm not changing that because I believe in this. And standing from where I'm at has gotten me to where I'm at, you know, believing in the process and believing in my capabilities and the vision of what I have for the brand. I continue to manifest that, and slowly but surely fittings turned into spreads turned into award stages, and award stages turned into clients trickling down for people wanting to look like what they saw somebody else look like.
Yeah, that's amazing. You said so many gems in that, in those moments. I just want to reiterate a few of them. One of them, which I think is huge, is the fact that you did not shy away from asking questions from people who are around you that do that. Like, I think not enough of us ask questions just off bat. You're in the area, you want to know, ask. And you did that. You went to different people, you found out where they produce, you found out all those nitty-gritty things. The other thing is, of course, knowing great people and knowing stylists, and that being something that you've had a relationship with to create your brand and your business. But also the fact that I'm blanking the word that you used. But the fact that you created lanes for yourself, you took the feedback you had, but you got over your imposter syndrome, which honestly I think is a hard thing to get over, and I don't think enough of us talk about it. But if you can, just a little bit of how you got from thinking that you didn't deserve to be in the spaces and the rooms that you were in, is basically what it breaks down to. And how did you get over that mindset?
So imposter syndrome is interesting because there's a level right before imposter syndrome fully occurs. Mm-hmm. That's probably a level of cockiness, which seems almost asinine when you're talking about imposter syndrome, because what happens is you're in a field of people who are producing excellence at all times.
Yeah.
And before, I guess the best way for me to put this in layman's terms for anybody to understand is, think about the number one basketball player from his city, right? The number one basketball player from his city, he's the man. He dunks on everybody, everything. Everybody loves him. Nobody can stop him. Everybody knows he's going to the league and he's going to be as successful as possible, right?
Yeah.
And that's where the cockiness comes from. Everybody believes in you. Everybody who can't do what you do believes that you are excellent at what you do.
Yeah.
Till you're in a level playing field of everybody who can do what you can do. And then that's when life starts, right?
Yeah.
That's when you start to say,
like, oh,
hold on.
I'm not the only one.
I'm not the only person that's dope. You doing dope shit. You doing dope shit. And if I'm being honest, it gets scary real quick.
Yeah.
Now, what you have to do to beat imposter syndrome is to constantly run your own race. Put blinders on and realize that when you're running track, the person that you're chasing, your PR, that's your personal record. Of course, we want to break Olympic records, right? Of course, we want to win the race. Yeah. But in reality, when we ran track, the only thing that we were running against was our personal best, our PB. All I wanted to do was beat my PB every time. And that's the same way that you have to learn to beat imposter syndrome. Yes, people are doing great things, but you're destined for great things too.
Yeah.
Right? Know that your lane and your path is specifically carved out for you, that no matter how great somebody does something, no matter how parallel to what you do, your path is still very much for you. And the more that you dig into that positivity that comes with your path, and not spend time thinking about your shortcomings, which you may feel others are strengthened in that area, that's will propel you to be successul faster. In Green Book, they said they told a story about Frank Sinatra, how there were 100 guys in the neighborhood that could sing better than Frank, but it didn't matter because they didn't have everything that Frank had.
Exactly.
They didn't have the poise. They didn't have just the charisma. They didn't have the talent. At any given time, you can maybe put yourself on a scale against somebody else and realize that there's other areas that they may be more successful, may be more talented, may be more skilled. But rest assured that your talents and your skill put you not only on a level playing field, but on an excelled one when you believe what you have as your worth.
Yeah, that's great. That's amazing. I think those are words that we all need to hear at every stage of our life, because we continue to progress, and with our businesses, with our creativity, it's good to remind yourself that it's really just you that you are against almost. It's your past self that you're working towards being better than, and other people around you, while they can be competition, are really there to help and support you. And I feel like in general, which is why the Black Design Collective even exists, is recognizing that we're not against each other and we're better together, so we can push each other to be our own personal best. So thank you for that. So you recently expanded into women's wear, which I love. It's cute. Like, y'all got to check it out. But what made you decide, like, okay, you were good at suiting, you're good at this niche. What made you decide to expand?
3 words: women are bullies. Women have been in, however you want to put it, for every dope man, there's a dope woman behind them. Well, however you want to take that saying, listen, women are the propeller. Black women, to be exact, are the propeller, okay? Women were constantly in my messages, constantly asking me about, how would you think this would look for a woman? How would you think this would look if the blazer was elongated, or if it was asymmetrical, or if it was a high-low? Always, always. And what I had to realize was, one, you have to keep your finger to the pulse of your consumer, right? And you have to understand consumerism in a whole. Women drive sales in forces, right? Men don't want to look good for other women. Men want to look good for other women. How do men look good? The women tell them what they look like. Like, this is cute, babe. I can't tell you how many women reach out for the preliminary conversations for custom suits, custom for weddings and things of that sort, because they have the vision.
Yeah.
They're driving, they have the vision. So it was almost just, I just had to stop and listen. And once I listened and I said, it was very loud.
Yeah.
It was very loud. And all I thought about was how I wanted to accentuate the woman's body, how I wanted to accentuate curves, how I wanted to just kind of like bring out what I already loved about the way the women's body was formed. And it was a no-brainer for me to start to make the women's pieces. It was like, okay, do this. And all I did was just envision what I'd love to see. It was literally that easy.
That's great. So you have this amazing collection. You have all these great pieces. You have connections with stylists. And I know we've had this conversation. I think we had it when I ran into you at Mood Fabrics one day. But there's the aspect of your work being PR and going on all these amazing celebrities and all over the place. However, there is the bottom line, which is your money and what you're getting in. And when a lot of your clients, especially here in LA, happen to be celebrities and happen to be people whose clothing, or when they wear your clothes, they'll be seen by so many people. There's the aspect of them not thinking that they need to pay for it, which is obviously how a lot of things happen, as we know in this world. However, what practices did you do on the business end to ensure that people weren't just borrowing clothes to look good, but also buying clothes and helping with the business?
That's a loaded question. Wow, where do I start? There's so many parts. I hope I covered them all. Let me first start by saying that pride comes before the fall. Okay. You need to know realistically where you're at as a business.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, I always use the analogy, finger to the pulse. You need to have an understanding of what the streets are responding to as a result of what you're doing.
Yeah.
Because while you can be high on all the pieces that you're designing and everything that you do, and your bubble is high on what you're doing and what you're designing, that may not necessarily translate to the world.
Yeah.
You know, and you have to put your finger to the pulse and say, hey, I may not be as popping as I thought I was. Because quickly you get one celebrity wear your piece, and all of a sudden now people are thinking you're high and mighty and all of that stuff. Listen, celebrities wearing your pieces are awesome, but that does not pay the bills.
Yeah.
Because if the celebrity wears a piece that I created as a sample, they wear that piece, they give that piece back, and that was awesome. But what I had to do was take charge of things on my own. And the first thing that I did was I created kind of like a board, a committee, if you will,
okay,
that were a part of my team that were okay with making sound decisions. And what I mean by sound decision wasn't decisions that were driven by emotion, wasn't decisions that were driven by even financial. There were decisions that were driven in the best interest of the business.
Yeah.
And when I really started to dive into, I put together kind of like a little curriculum, if you will. There was a checklist that said, this person wants us to land. What is this going to do? Where is the exposure going to go? What is this crossover going to do? Is this a market that we're already saturated in? How are we going to make sure that we do anything on the tail end of this? Will they be responsible for receiving pictures? Does this person tag? You know, like a cool 20 question sheet that basically was a matrix that said, if it doesn't work in this sheet, then it doesn't make sense for the business. You know, you have to understand that there's going to be times where you're going to give pieces out and they might not get tagged, they might not get worn, and you're going to do this process 1,000 times over. What you have to first realize is, one, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
To be in these rooms, right? I don't think that sometimes being in LA, being in Hollywood, dealing with celebrities, I think sometimes we get real high real quick and we don't realize, first of all, there's 1,000 designers out here that somebody might not know about that could maybe even be better than you, that could maybe even set the world on fire, however, whatever you want to say. There's people that are not known. but you're in this room. You're in this room because of your connection. So if you're not chosen, one, understand that that's okay. It's going to happen. But when you do get chose, you get chose. Two, you want to lend. You want to build, you know, a fuss and a following about your pieces, right? You want to build that noise.
Yeah.
But being too cautious on lending is no noise what you want.
Yeah.
If you say no to everyone, does that necessarily make sense? You know, if you're saying yes to everyone, do you feel too accessible?
Yeah.
Macy's, no shade to Macy's, but Macy's is everywhere.
There's a general aspect to it. So did you, and in turn, create a budget, if you will, of the amount of because it costs a lot in material and manufacturing and all those things to create pieces, and a lot of times custom pieces for a specific celebrity or whatnot. Is there a budget in your business planned for that? And then do you, with your algorithm, do you assess it afterwards and see where you go from there? Like what is the system with that?
It's a quarterly assessment.
Yeah.
Because what happens is you have to know as a designer, and a designer that deals with you know, like fine tailoring, suiting, luxury wear, bespoke things. Those are very much heavier in certain seasons. Yeah. So if you understand, that's really where the birth of the other pieces came for me. It was the supplementing, because initially when I started out, I was heavy busy in January, December, February, right? Holiday season, going into award season, and then it would die out for a second. Then it would jump right back up for wedding season.
For weddings, yeah.
Right? So I had to find out whether all the peaks were amazing. Yeah. Every year, on top of year, the compound for the peaks were amazing. But the lows were what I had to really, like, you know, that's where I had to pride myself on. How was I getting past those months where it was kind of like people weren't buying suits as much? And that's where the set started to come in. So I started to do that in order to understand that I had to keep money coming in. And then I had to find cheaper ways to be able to do the free PR.
Yeah, okay.
Make a suit is 3 times as expensive to make a set.
Yeah.
So I make a set, the set is popping. I can make 3 of these. I can give 1 away, right? I can have 2 for styling, 2 for stylists to pull to where's the samples, and I can give 1 away to 1 person who I want to.
Yeah.
It was really just me playing with the numbers at all times, seeing what made the most sense, and seeing how I can get the most just feedback and give back with that. Right. You know, the biggest thing I can say is that there's not a blanket answer.
Yeah, no, and that's what we need to hear in general. And I feel like this was a great way of assessing. I know a lot of us are in that situation with our businesses and dealing with whether or not we give out and when to give out. And now in this landscape of COVID-19, how has that even changed your thought process of where you're going and where you are now, of course, but then of course what the future is going to look like? As we all know, it's going to look completely different than it did before. But what are you predicting and how to maneuver business?
One thing that I really do like is the deepening of relationship, right? I think people do not buy products, they buy a story.
Yeah.
So in this time of COVID-19, I think it's important for us as designers to kind of get from behind the designs for this time.
Yeah.
And to build a relationship with our consumers so that when there is a time for them to consume again, that they feel that there is a personal connection to somebody as not just a brand, right? Now I have somebody who's watching this is going to now know my story. They're going to now be a little bit more intrigued. Maybe they'll say, you know, I want to support that designer. I want to support that cat. He's cool. I saw those designs. I didn't know where they came from. Whatever it may be, you know, like you have to be able to turn those into positives. It's really up to you.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that. So let's get into the personal as we end this.
Oh, real quick, you asked me about where fashion was going. I'm sorry, I didn't answer that.
Oh, it's
As
fun.
far as with this, you're definitely about to see popping masks as a result, as a result of like, you know, complimenting outfits. I think that's
Mhm.
going to be a different thing. Lending is going to be different for designers to stylists.
Yeah.
Lending is going to look different. The process of that is going to have to be different now. So we're going to have to reassess how that does to be able to make
Meaning,
sure that we're lending at a health standard, you know, and that
yeah.
making sure to put ourselves in places where we don't compromise ourselves. I don't
Yeah.
know how many other designers in LA, but there's plenty that have like what I have. I have a 2 bedroom and a den, 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom and a den. But my left side of my apartment is my work side.
Right.
My second bedroom is the work den, and then the den is where we do consults.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm having consults in my house, then that means that that's possible for, you know, for Corona to come into my household.
Yeah.
So everything is now changing. The whole
Hmm.
process of that is now going to have to change, and going to have to figure out what's best for us. But I know as far as fashion, we're definitely going to see a lot more masks.
Yeah.
I hope that they're functional.
Yeah.
Shout out to the people making the functional masks, not just
Functional.
fashionable, but also functional. And
Right.
I think what we will see as a result from this, Business of Fashion just put out an article about this, and I'm really excited to see just about the sustainability of fashion with the seasons,
I
the
definitely.
overproduction, and kind of like moving into a place where things become biodegradable, or we have pieces that are kind of like just in the sense of being more in tune with our environment and
That's
our production
yeah.
cycle.
I love that. And I too read that, so I 100% on board with environment actually being something that we all need to start figuring out how to incorporate now in our business plans, because that's what people are caring about in the future.
Tell the people who are watching this, who are young aspiring designers, stylists, you have to keep your finger to the pulse. I'm gonna keep saying
Hmm.
that, on what's really going on in your industry, not just what's being worn, you know, not just the crazy cool designs, not just that, you know, not just even the runways, but you have to know what's going on in your industry as far as like impact. You have to
Hmm.
know what's going on in your industry as far as change. You
Yeah.
need to study fashion, business of fashion, like that. That's those type of outlets are places where you should be going to study fashion, where you should be going to study the archives of fashion. Like if
Yeah.
this is what you want to do, you should respect this the same amount that you respect somebody who does surgery,
Hmm.
who's a psychiatrist, who's a
Right.
lawyer. That type of energy, that type of direction, that type of passion, that type of vigor that they put into their career is the same that you have to put into ours
Right.
as successful. It's just in a different light.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. So, with all this knowledge that you've gained through your life, I again appreciate you coming here to share as much as you have of it. But I always love to ask people, just because I feel like with success, there's certain things that people do. So, what is your everyday routine? Like, what do you do? When do you get up? You know, is there something you eat specifically? Like, how do you go about your day from beginning to
I'm a
end?
6 p.m. riser. And I feel like I wake up at 6 a.m. for two reasons. One, I'm former military and it's been instilled in me, and I could not
Yeah.
try to wake up later if I wanted to. But two, we're unfortunate in California that we're almost the second to last time zone. You know, before Hawaii, the world is already gone before us. You know, everybody's already in the next day, in the afternoon, already done by the time that we're waking up.
Yeah.
So you gotta get out there and get it. And if you really don't want to do that already from the jump, you're behind. That's
Right.
cool, you know, it's up to you. Whatever works for you, but you're behind, you know. Each day I have a task list that I want to accomplish. It feels so great. Some people write them. I put mine on my phone. But I
Yeah.
have a task list of things that I want to accomplish. I come, I meditate. You know, I'm looking to kind of like just put whatever, manifest whatever I want for the day, whatever I'm looking to put into the energy that I'm looking to put
Yeah.
into the world today, and kind of like align myself. And then I do some reading. I'm always reading either some type of book to either, you know, expand my information as far as like designing, knowledge, relationship, religion, whatever it may be. I'm trying to just, you know, better myself. So
Yeah.
that's what so that's probably, we're probably at about 7:30 by now at that. You know, I probably worked out, read, meditated, and now it's time to get the day cracking. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm checking sales, I'm checking what forecasting is looking like, I'm checking where people are on the site. I'm checking what people are looking at. I'm looking at the news also, what's going on in the news. News
Mm-hmm.
for fashion, news for the world. Am I going to be able to open up as a business in LA? You know, like
Yeah.
that's changing a little bit right now. But and then I get into just kind of wherever the day takes me, whether it's finance, whether it's kind of like responding to emails, or whether it's taking some time out to design. I
Yeah.
love to go out and just kind of let the world inspire me as far as like color palettes and color blocking and combinations for pieces and stuff like that. I'm really always inspired by architecture, by museums and things of that sort. So I just literally sometimes living in downtown LA, I don't think that people see it in the same lens that I do, because I see so much art, and I see art being designing and designing being part of fashion too. So it's all one world, and I
Yeah.
just kind of like go different places and take it in. And
Right.
before that, by the time I'm getting back, I might run into you at Mood. I stop by Mood, and I'm looking for new fabrics that might be coming out, reing up on some stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
catching up with my assistants, my interns, what's going on, get a social media post in, make sure that we're responding to social media, and the day starts to wind down after that. You probably have some appointments by then if it wasn't during this time. You definitely have an appointment where I'm usually 50-50 if I have like 2 appointments a day, maybe
Yeah.
the higher celebrity that I'm going to, and then there's, no offense, but Joe Schmo that's coming to me. So I'll have those more so later in the evening, and we got the fittings, and after that we kind of like line up what got accomplished today, what
Yeah.
didn't, what needs to be accomplished for the next day, what needs to be accomplished for the rest of the week, and it's just we do it again.
Yeah.
It's a cycle. People who are successful have, like things, bullet points, and things that they have to accomplish, and they're regimented in those things.
I love that. So when do you end your day?
As I said, I unfortunately, I mean, I'm jokingly saying unfortunately, it's a blessing, but it is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I share my workspace with my life,
Yeah.
so I don't get to say I left that document at the office. I'll do it tomorrow. Walk your ass, excuse me, over there to the other side of the apartment and handle it. So the day never really ends. Especially in this time, you wouldn't believe the highs and lows of random times that I receive messages and inquiries now, because people don't have sleep patterns. So throw in the lack of a sleep pattern of an East Coaster, they're inquiring about a suit at 11 p.m. And then the West Coaster is inquiring about something that they saw somebody wear. Can they get it in a different color at 4 a.m.?
Yeah.
I'm not responding at those times because you need to create boundaries. Just to let you know, it's forever happening. Like, you don't get to turn it off. The business is always there. And as a designer, as a business owner, you have to find a way to, at some point, say, hey, I'm going to be me today, and I'm going to let the business be the business.
Yeah.
Important for your mental health.
So that was the next question is how do you balance your personal life, your business needs together? Is it times when you shut it off? Is it times when do you integrate it in your day? Do you schedule it? How do you balance it?
If anybody's got the answer to that question, Brandon at grayscaleic.com, please send it, because I don't have it. Balance is something that I don't think it's a permanent thing. I think it's kind of fluid, because it balancing at one point may look different.
Right.
Just even to be a buck, like if you're dating versus when you're not, like your balance looks different, right? Like you don't have to kind of divide your time or anything of that sort. But when you're just all the way in, what I have to kind of make sure that I do is just create little days or pockets or moments or hours or something of that sort. Like I have to allocate it. I have to say, yo, I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go to the butterfly garden, and I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna turn my phone off. I'm not gonna respond to something. I'm gonna meditate. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna listen to some music, and I'm gonna wind down. And there's times that that there are peaks and valleys. Like sometimes we're not as busy. It definitely fluctuates, but there's times when we're busy, and you have to take the highs with the lows. Use the lows as times to recharge, as times to assess, and times to kind of like plan the next area of attack.
That's great. Those are really great things. I think a lot of people identify with you on that in terms of finding the balance. So yeah, so are there any practical tools that you have through your days, any books, apps, tech tools, practices that you use to like help improve in general in any aspect?
Vogue Runway, Business of Fashion. I'm always on those two things. They start off my day.
Okay.
They really start off my day when I'm starting to get into fashion stuff, because I just want to know what's going on in the fashion world, what's up to be. GQ. I always keep an eye on what's going on GQ. I have some clients that are NBA, NFL, and when I'm doing things with them, I love to kind of like just keep my eye on, because I know something's going to happen, and when it does, I want to make sure that I'm riding that wave, because it's important that you have to, if you repost it at the time of it being, that traction comes, but if you don't miss that wave, it's important that you have to balance those things. So
that's good. So what are you most proud of in people, in the world, in community? What are you most proud of?
I am most proud of probably, I don't even know if this makes sense, but blind compassion.
That does.
I love how people are, and maybe I love this because I'm probably one of the biggest people who are like this. I love how people are just kind of like suckers, simps, and saps when the cameras are off. So like when I say blind compassion, because it's like they do it when nobody's like looking. Like, you can't see it. It doesn't happen, but it occurs. And when you're looking from the outside in, it's like a person who I could say, I think in my mind has a great example of that is like Beyonce, probably, right? Mm-hmm. People love to go at Beyonce and say, oh, but what has she done? What has she done? Right. Her compassion, she just sits there and look at you while she's already donated $500,000. But she doesn't need to tell you that, right? She doesn't need to show you her love. She doesn't push her love on you. She just lets it blindly happen. She just lets it quietly happen. So I love that the world has that. I love when people give to GoFundMes and stuff like that. They see a story that tugged on their heart, and they feel moved.
Yeah.
So I love when people are activated to share emotion that's not necessarily deemed something that you wear on your sleeves, I guess.
That's great. I love that. So, and you're so right with that in general. I think all of this has brought out a giving side of all of us and a compassionate side of all of us, because we all realize that we're all human at the end of the day. Yeah. And I love that aspect. So what are you the most proud of in yourself?
That is a tough one. I am a pusher, so I always think about, I sometimes have a tough time celebrating things within myself.
Yeah.
But
you're getting better at it.
Better at it, but if I'm be honest, I hate to say this, but I'm most proud of still being alive.
Okay.
Is like, I'm not talking about 5 miles down. I'm not talking about 7 blocks over. I'm talking about my building next door.
Yeah.
Every year we lost people growing up, and I feel like I'm just proud that I'm here to be able to leave an impact on the world. Like I don't want my impact to be about fashion. It's more so about this. It's about, torch bearing. It's about passing on knowledge. It's about passing on skill sets and things that will forever leave a legacy for you, for myself, and anything that we are passionate about. That's my end goal for everything. That's what I'm here for, So I think I pride myself on that. I want to be more proud about moments, but sometimes I do just kind of look, especially when I even hear things, it just makes me sad. I'm like, damn, just celebrate right now. Just celebrate breathing. Celebrate, because sometimes we get so deep into, oh, I got this bomb apartment, but I don't have that bomb apartment. Like, no. The inhale, the exhale of the breath in our lungs is crazy to still have as a 33-year-old Black male from Inglewood, because there's a lot of people that I know that don't have that.
Yeah.
That success. They don't have that degree. They don't have that drive. They don't have that promise. So I put on for my city. I put on for myself. And I put on for everybody who is still continuing to like let the wet cement dry.
Yeah.
Like we're not even done yet, you know. Like we just getting started.
And you're present, you're in your moment, and you don't even realize how many people are watching you and proud of you, but also you are encouraging just by being you, being alive, and living in your truth. So thank you so much for everything you've done, everything you've persevered through, because we all know it ain't always easy. And just in general, as a friend, like I've seen you from the random times. We have a lot of friends in common, for those of you who don't know. LA is
Right.
small, especially Black LA, but it's so great to see people at different stages. And I think you are one of the people who I love to see win. There's so many people in general I love to see win, but it's great to see like the progression of win, and how we all continue to win together. So thank you for persevering, just so we can sit here and say, yeah, be proud.
Winning is not. I want to say something about winning, because as much as we're charged to win,
Yeah,
as much as we should also be charged to send the elevator back down.
yeah.
Like, like just like I
Humble
said,
yourself.
like best believe if a young aspiring designer from Inglewood hit me up, like we talking, we rapping, what can I do? How can I help? You know, like because for me, 5 minutes ago, I have this saying about the ceiling becoming the floor.
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes ago, what I thought was pinnacle was amazing is becoming the norm. I didn't tell myself when I was 17 going to Morningside that I was going to be in a room full of celebrities. That could have been pinnacle. But for now, that's no longer pinnacle. That's the norm. You know, so the ceiling became the floor very quickly. Every time I keep going, think something's so cool, it's like, oh, we're here. So now you're going to climb higher. So it's up to you every time you climb higher to make sure that somebody else is coming right up with you. Send the elevator back.
Exactly. I love that. And that's what this is all about here with the Black Design Collective. How do we find out more for all of us who are going to go deep dive and see more amazing things from you? Where do we look?
All things Grayscale are on Grayscale IC. The IC is for image consulting. GrayscaleIC.com. Grayscale IC for Twitter, for Instagram. Grayscale IC, yeah. That's
everywhere.
On socials, yeah.
Grayscale IC. Well, thank you so much, BJ, for coming here with us with the Black Design Collective. Obviously, everyone who's watching, if you want to become a member, there's a lot of amazing talks with amazing friends like BJ. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing what you have in your story. It's so great to see you again. And yeah, thanks.
Thank you for having me. Stay safe out there, y'all.
Yeah, please. And wear the mask, the real ones, not the...
Wear the mask.
All right. Have a nice day.
Right.
Bye. And one moment. Boomy? Is she coming back?
Slowly.
I want to unmute her, but it's... Thank you so much, BJ.
No problem.
This was a great conversation. I think a lot of people are really going to enjoy. I know I did, so.
That was good. I was listening to myself like, oh, okay.
Yeah, like sometimes you got to do that. You got to encourage, hear what you've done. I think that's my favorite part about doing this is like, we never get a chance to sit and like think about what we've done, our accomplishments, and how we got to be where we are now. So Thank you for being a part of it.
This was cool. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Great.
So where are you guys going to post it at?